Welcome back to another episode featuring a conversation with YouTube star Rob Dahm. Brought to you by APiDA Online, this is Offtrack.
McLaren's really doing a good job of persuading me to the dark side. Because, frankly, their P1 is a piece of art as well. Mm-hmm. And, of course, anything that's $1 million should be insane. Right. Should be. Mm-hmm. Well, so, I twice now have got to hang out with the CEO of McLaren. Wow. And I mean, when you have that sort of, and I'm not expecting that ever. Like that was an honor to be part of that because I'm not a customer yet. But the time that they took with me was so precious, so wonderful that they gave me that same feeling that Horatio did about the spirit of the company. Right. So. A P1 owner, a friend of mine, took me to these events, and so here I am talking to this CEO of McLaren and showing him pictures. We're having drinks together, showing him pictures of the Diablo all broken. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh well, here if we want to feel better, let me show you this." And he showed me Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean's F1 that he had flipped. He said, "At least you're not, you didn't flip an $8 million car." And I'm like, That's a good point. I mean, it's more like 12 million now. Yeah, probably up there. Yeah. But he had done so much damage to the car that McLaren themselves were rebuilding it. It's such an unfortunate thing because a lot of people see they saw Mr. Bean wrecked his exotic hypercar, but he races that thing like he knows how to drive. He's a very good driver. He's a good driver. Yeah. So and that car is hard to drive. It has 0 manual assists. And 600 and something horsepower. That car had the top speed, the highest top speed of any car for a good more than a decade. Yeah. From '94 till whatever, till the Koenigsegg beat it in like 05, or 03 or something. What I want to, I think. But that car is it's so much different from anything that you drive today. If you drive a I drove an Aston Martin Vanquish a few weeks ago, and the car has 565 horsepower, V12, and it has lots of power. But everything is very controlled. It has stability control, it has power, everything. Mm-hmm. That car is just basically as close to a race car as you can get, and they made 0 compromise on it. Yes. So it's loud and it's tough to it's tough on bumps, but. Yeah, that's the key word is, two words is no compromise. That and the Diablo both share that same exact experience in it. I love that. Now, I don't need every car that I drive to be that way, but you get into, and I've not ridden an F1, so I can only speculate, but you get into Diablo and F1, Countach even. Those cars are raw. And that's probably the best word to describe them, and that's they're borderline unfinished. Yes. Like you literally have in my car, you in the passenger seat, you have a fire extinguisher because you're helping them with R&D at that point. Listen, you're not going to need this, but just in case. Just in case. Report back to us. Yeah. Just check back in 3 to 6 months. Yep. Wow. Okay. So the McLaren, did you get to drive? Did you get to drive one? No, not yet. I do have an opportunity with all the Expel wrapping, the protection film we've been doing. A friend of mine has his P1 on order, and I'm gonna wrap it. And then he said, "Hey, if you want to take it for a spin, please do." So I don't see why you would. It's kind of a boring car, really. Yeah, you probably dime a dozen. It has so many electronic nannies, I've already driven a Taurus. It's basically the same thing. It's the same thing, I can't even say that. I feel guilty saying that. It's a 900 horsepower McLaren made of completely carbon fiber that does a quarter mile like 9.7 seconds. From the factory. Yeah, from the factory. That's without any, anything that Mansouri puts out. Yeah. But all right, so what McLarens would you consider? I mean, the P1 obviously, right? Obviously. But that's kind of like the top. That's that's like billionaire status when I'll spend $1 million on a car, I don't care what happens to it. Well, I'll be honest. So I've got the Diablo, and people ask me a lot, would you get the Huracan or the Aventador? And that is the toughest between those two. But my sight, my gut feeling is on that next level, that P1 Wyra. That's the level I want to be at next.
Oh yeah.
So that's my dream, my next level. But a friend of mine did let me ride, and he's gonna let me drive it. He insists. It's not me asking. It's him insisting for me to drive his 650S.
Well, you have very nice friends.
Yes, very very good friends.
Yes.
And so he drove me in it. He in Monterey, he took me all through the mountains in his 650S. And I'll tell you what, that thing had the spirit of an RX-7. Of all things, it was a go-kart. He turns where I just that same day he and I had gone testing Huracans.
Right.
Excuse me, behind Lamborghini's test driver. So he took us way faster than we would have taken the cars.
Yeah.
And so he was comparing his 650 to the Huracan, and the Huracan handles. It's a very nimble car, but this 650S blew it out of the water. Handling wise, the 650 was just bar none one of the best cars, if not the best car I've ever handled in. And
it also looks just amazing. I mean, it has that kind of P1 front end. It has the back end of an MP4, which is already a good looking car with the exhaust coming out the top.
Yep.
That's wow.
So I would say because that's a turbo V8. I would say the power was decent. The power band was interesting. It was a very uncomfortable. I wasn't used to the power band on that car.
Well, the power band is nowadays the power band on these premium cars so much different. Like 500 horsepower now and 500 horsepower in like 95, it's completely different.
I've never put that together. But you're so right. That is a big difference.
Because there's so much power under the curve. It's like 500 horsepower. Like pretty much from idle. and that's like you have I think nowadays you get torque at like max torque is like 2,500 RPM, something crazy like that. Yep. Well, before you'd have to wring it out to get that full power band. And it's not peaky. They have there's variable valve timing and all this cam and trickery, and
especially turbocharging a large displacement engine.
Right.
You do have torque at the bottom end.
Exactly.
Much more than you would.
And plus variable vane turbos, and it's direct injection. All of that just makes for a crazy experience. Where Jay Leno says that cars are the best, like from I think it's like 60 to about like 150. Anything after that, you're just gonna either hurt yourself or go to jail.
Yep.
So in that range, you'll have so much fun, like just driving around normally, right? Just getting to whatever highway speeds, like 60 or 70. There's gonna be a lot of power there. Yes. Like a lot of usable power, and you can really take it on the twisties and whatnot. Let's say if you had a 79 Countach that needed to be revved to make any power, and at that RPM, it was really scary because you were going freaking fast.
Yes. Yeah, it is funny though, because the Countach and obviously because it shares some spirit of the Diablo, only had a 5-speed, so you are right. You really had to wring those gears out to get the power, the RPM, and so you're at the top of a tall gear. I mean,
yeah, I
can run 5th gear all the way from 40 miles an hour all the way to 205.
So your Diablo is a 5-speed. Is it a dogleg?
It is. So, which it's funny because almost every video somebody makes a comment about me starting in 2nd gear, and I'm starting in 1st, but it's because it's
you're such a noob, bro.
Yeah. Well, this guy obviously doesn't know how to drive his car because he's starting in 2nd.
Oh, you're gonna burn out the clutch. You're such a noob.
Yeah, it's funny because they're like, why are you suck at cars? Why don't you know this? And it's like, oh my god, that's the irony in your comment.
God,
is
you have no idea what you're talking
horrible.
About. Isn't it weird? Because I drove a Porsche 928 GT, which has a dog leg.
Yes.
And it's just odd. And it's not odd doing the 1st gear because that you learn that in about 10-15 minutes.
Yep.
What's odd is the downshift if you're doing going into 2nd where 3rd is. That kind of, for me, it's it's just really weird. Like it's very counterintuitive.
Well, I was explained why the dogleg was designed was for the 2nd to 3rd shift, back and forth.
Because 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's for racing. It's
And I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the reason for the dog leg.
Right.
So fortunately, because I'm not cognizant of what gear I'm in, I'm just cognizant of I'm here and I need to go down.
Right.
Here.
It's just muscle memory.
Yeah. So I've gotten used to that. But for the first year of driving the Diablo, it was like. Like, you're always like almost if there wouldn't be a person in the passenger seat, but you'd want to like apologize. You'd be like, oh, my bad, my bad, sorry.
All right, that's enough for today, but what did you think? You can leave a comment down below to give us your view, or you can join us next time when we continue the conversation. Be sure to follow Rob on his YouTube channel, especially if you're the type of person that likes to be motivated. And you can check out APiDAonline.com for DIY guides, epic builds, and videos just like this updated daily. If you'd like to support APiDA Online, you can do so by clicking through the Amazon banner on our homepage. It costs you nothing, and it lets us keep making articles and videos like this for you for free. And on that note, always remember, life is just too short to drive boring cars.